I'd like to start with our thanks to Exile Editions and Free Times Cafe for allowing us to read here, and special thanks to you, the audience, for being here, because if there ain't no audience, there ain't no show. I'm glad you made it through the rain, sleet, snow, hail, wintry darkness, and barking Santas, to paraphrase Stan Rogel. Big thanks to Michael Callahan, Barry Callahan, Beatrice Hausner, and Maria Edmonds. I'm Karl Jirgens, and I brought a hodgepodge of free Rampike magazines. If you're interested, they're out there. Just grab them while you can. There's no charge for them. And let's have a big hand for everyone involved. Thanks, Beatrice, for editing this book. And John Cage once said that our poetry now is the realization that we possess nothing. So here are a few words about nothing. Watch out for the double meanings. This one's for Paul Dutton, who passed away recently. Nothing should upset you. Nothing should change your mind, your path. Nothing is free. Nothing can change the world. Nothing's going to change your world. Nothing sneaks upon you, and then nothing. Something is better than nothing, and suddenly nothing happens when you least expect it. Here are a few sweet nothings as an homage to Russian absurdist troublemaker Daniel Karms. I'm unsure if he had brown hair. He was nearly bald, so that if he was a brunette, then it's just what people said. He had no eyes and no ears. He had no mouth. He could not scream. He had no limbs, no face, nor abdomen, no back, no entrails. He had nothing. Nothing. Nothing at all. In fact, it's impossible to know who he really was, so perhaps it's best not to speak of him. And if you've got the book already, here's a short bit from my author's preface. I've always told my students, I taught at the University of Windsor for a while, and it went okay. And I used to teach creative writing classes, and the students would ask me if it's okay to rhyme, and I said, if it's poetry, then it should not rhyme. And yet my author's preface rhymes. Here it is. To wear the robes of purple or the sandals of a slave is a choice that we are given from the cradle to the grave. But neither one is better, and both the days will burn. And each one will provide you the lessons you must learn. And so this book includes travesties, homages, linguistic experiments, ruptures, raptures, and dreamscapes which embrace surrealism. I'll offer a few examples. So here's a travesty. This one's dedicated to Louis Dudek, and it's titled Moment. Walking out of the library with Beckett's Not I underarm, I thought that rock was much like a cat or something like that, sitting there, or maybe just a hat someone dropped. It could be like that where it sat. It looks just like that from the corner of the eye, when looking askance, a chance glimpse as the eye glides over before thought seizes the moment to deceive. But it's something else before you notice, just past your shoulder, a rock or small boulder, rounded and curved, resting well grounded. I thought it a cat or something like that in that split second before mind seized eye, but just a rock sitting at the sidewalk's side, its gray fur glistening in the rain. Here's another travesty. It's called Italo Calvino Keeps Calling. If you don't know Italo Calvino, he was a famous Italian writer, including a journalist, and he wrote magical fictions, including If Upon a Winter's Night, a Stranger, among other works. And this one is dedicated to Steve McCaffrey. Italo Calvino keeps calling, phoning, knocking at my door. I pretend I'm not home. Italo Calvino is outside my house, hounding me. He keeps shouting, calling my name. I keep pretending I'm not home. He keeps phoning, keeps sending text messages. Italo Calvino keeps calling. He sends emails asking why I won't respond. He sends telegrams. He contacts me on social media. He wants to talk about the art of fiction. He wants to talk about the Paris Review. He wants to talk about probabilities. He wants to talk about his interviews. He wants to talk about his translators. He keeps calling me and wants to talk about wordplay. He wants to talk about impossibilities, about new story ideas and flipping genres. He wants to talk about gathering cheese on the moon. He says he still has a very tall ladder, but things have changed. The moon is much farther compared to when he was young. He wants to talk about a winter's night. He wants to talk about new beginnings. He wants to talk about unwritten words and the cracked state of the world. Here's an homage for Eugene McNamara titled, He Said. Call me Eugene, he said. He never spoke of praise for his own writing. Sometimes trains shook his house. In the middle of heat waves, he spoke the river's shivering secrets. He spoke the music of silence, watched a sparrow's flight, traced the earth's circumference, wrote of seasons and winter's light, sang nocturnes to hallowed nature, sang of warmth in winter, sang canonical hours and far-off bells announcing daylight, remembered light on ocean waves, long grass running on the beach, love's embrace, trees swaying in the wind, the slant of morning sun, and coffee trucks blowing horns at construction sites. He said, come in, and recalled the closed dark, the tears of things, the goings, remembered first words, offered open palms. He spoke of evensong at day's close and breathing night air. And he spoke calm silences. His depth was huge, reciting Whitman, James, Emerson, Wilde, Waugh, and others. He was a spark plug, started the Windsor Review, built a program from the ground up using only words. Never said your poems are awful. Never said go home, find work in a bank. Instead, with gentle fortitude, and as Phil Hall noted, explained how single words can serve as stones in a stone wall, and how a stone can be a grace note. He spoke small words, seemingly offhanded. He spoke of crucial things. He knew of Duncan, Robert Duncan, how vowels build spirit and consonants the body. Here's a poem about my dad who died not too long ago. This one's called Father's Day Homage to Robert Croce. This is an excerpt from a prose poem that was published in Best Poetry of Canada 2023. This is part 1. It's Father's Day again. In my dreams I see my father standing there surveying, theodolite atop a tripod up in Sudbury. Now he's in this place, in bed, aged 90, with Parkinson's. He stutters. Words break in his mouth. He can barely walk. When he does, he staggers, falls into a wheelchair. Thinks he's 99. He's not. He thinks he's going to work today. He's not. He thinks he's late for work. He's not. His eyeglasses no longer serve. He can't focus. He insists that his toothbrush must be exactly 5.88 millimeters. No more, no less. He's lying in bed, in diapers, trousers around his ankles, unable to stand. He tells me he dreamt he walked around the room, walked outside, smelled pine fresh air on the family farm. He hasn't been on that farm since 1942. He has no idea what year it is. I tell him to read my calendar book, the date clearly posted. He can't focus. He thinks it's 1989. It's not. He thinks he's 99 years old. He's 90. He thinks the clock is wrong. It's not. He thinks he has to go to work. He doesn't. He thinks his wife works every day. She doesn't. He thinks people are stealing stuff from his bathroom. They're not. He thinks he's signed numerous legal documents. He hasn't. He thinks I've written my address on the wall. I haven't. I explain all of this to him. He half listens. It takes time. I think I'm going to get a parking ticket. I don't. Here's an homage for Nurbesi Philip, who visited Windsor several times thanks to Professor Richard Douglas Chin. It's titled, And Then Nurbesi Zonged Us. Witness how language manifests a sacred space, as does song, shout, moan, oath, ululation, curse, chant. Hear fugal strategies, layers and counterpoints. Hear sacrament, a document of silence covering 10 days. Hear the historical text, generating an anti-narrative, a lament. Witness the massacre arising from clumsy navigational errors extending the West African voyage to Jamaica. Count Africans thrown overboard, allowing ship owners to claim insurance. Hear shortages of disappearing drinking water, disease rampant. Hear Gregson, slavers versus Gilbert, insurers. Hear the Dutch ship Zong in 1781. Some 130, perhaps 150, thrown overboard, women and children first, as less valued. Drowned, a horrid accounting. Memorialized. Hear ancestral voices tell a story that could not be told, yet had to be told. Could only be told by not telling through a silence that awakens. I'll try to do this one. This is a rapture piece, and I'll try to do this one from memory. It's called Dugong Song. I think some of you have maybe heard this. Anyway, so sitting at home one day, watching the TV, I was, let's see. I got the wrong start. I'll try to do this one by memory. One day sitting in front of TV, I was watching a program about the South Seas, about islands green and oceans deep, about a 10-legged beast called a giant squid, about fish and birds and turtles and snails, about the inky octopus and great blue whales, about the reef and the beaches and the sunny bay, about the scary finny manta ray, about coral and clams and surf and tides, about the nosy scalps with 100 eyes. But the thing that touched me to the heart was a story about a beast that lives afar. Friendly and soft, it's got no teeth, its only fault is it's good to eat. It's innocent, it's not to blame. All the people call it dugong by name. It lives in the shallows and in the lagoon. Looks like it'll be extinct pretty soon, because people, they eat it every day. Cook it up every which way. Boil it, roast it on the pan, they fry. Poor old dugong make you want to cry. Saute, puree, broil and stew, poach and roast and barbecue. They're cooking dugong cordon bleu, fricassee, rotisserie, frizzle and griddle like in the book, skillet, pan and pressure cook. Stuff 'em, baste 'em. Tasty, man. They even put it in a can. This whole thing's getting out of hand. There's no more dugong in the land. Search the seas and search the waves. Dugong facing their last days. So sitting at home in front of TV, watching this program about the South Seas, I got to thinking and I wrote this song called What You Gonna Do When the Dugong Gone? What you gonna do when the dugong gone? Dugong-ga-gong-ga-gong. Gung-gung-gong. Gong-ga-gong-gong. Dugong-ga-gong-gong. Oh. So hold the mustard and hold the mayo. Hold the dugong for another day. Oh, dugong run. Go someplace new, or you'll boil up in a dugong stew. And then we'll miss you, we'll be sad, thinking about the dugong we once had. So do your bit on your next bite. Don't eat no sandwich with a dugong inside. Stick to cabbage and stick to peas, and let the dugong roam the seas. Remember them and remember this song, 'cause what you gonna do when the dugong gone? What you gonna do when the dugong gone?